Hi Mahesh, how are you? Good to see you.
Namaste. Good
नमस्कार
evening.
सर, कैसे हैं?
How are
Good
you?
evening.
How are the hills treating you?
Hills are really good. Thank you so much, and really nice to see you from. I think you are in Singapore.
Singapore. I'm in
आपका
Singapore.
wallpaper तो ये I don't think this is the ये तो virtual wallpaper
ये
होगा
तो
ना?
virtual background है.
हाँ,
Yeah.
क्योंकि अभी सिंगापुर में तो I think it's already 6 in the
Evening.
evening.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so happy to have Mr. Mahesh with us, and Mahesh has been one of my dear friends. I mean, and we have been connected for last many years now. I feel that Mahesh ji and me have been connected for 20 years, but I don't think it is 20 years. कुछ साल हो गए हैं where Mahesh and I have interacted. Mahesh is a very well known and very well respected educationist, entrepreneur. I mean, Mahesh has been phenomenal. Different aspects of his life.
Thank you,
I mean,
Ankur, for the kind words, as
and
always.
yeah, I mean, it's a treat, as I say always. Sometimes when we meet, that Prabhu ne hame milaya, and we are very very honored, and it's Krishna's blessing that we two are connected. And I've always had great respect in the way you have your work is amazing. Your professional approach is amazing. The way you have maintained your relationships, connections. So much to learn from you. And we are here today to talk about the phenomenal work that you have done at IB. I mean, I was reading the numbers before coming here. I mean, IB has been on a growth path. I knew that I have seen the work that you have been putting it many years, but IB has been growing phenomenally in India. Not only in tier 1 cities, but tier 2, tier 3 cities, smaller cities. Now everywhere I see a deep hunger for setting up IB schools. And Mahesh, as the point person for IB in India and South Asia, has been leading it for last, if not more than 10 years. I think not less than 10 years. I think Mahesh has been associated with IB.
Now? Yeah, 8 years.
Okay, 8 years. If I was there, I would say इन्होंने 8 साल में इतना काम किया जितना 20 साल में होना चाहिए था. He has already done it in 8 years. So that is my compliment to him. But for 8 years, I have seen. I've personally been connected to Mahesh ji for at least last 3-4 years when I have seen his work and we have connected. And so I thought it will be good for us to connect with Mahesh, and we were just talking to Dr. Manish about global education, global curriculum. Dr. Manish is based in Jakarta. Mahesh is based in Singapore. So we can just have now from a perspective of a curriculum provider, as respected and as well known as IB, to come in and see from their perspective, where is the demand coming from? जो इतना growth हुआ IB का, and I only know about India. I'm sure in other markets as well, Mahesh is leading those efforts. What are you saying, Mahesh? For last 8 years, you have been associated with IB. Where did this journey start for the growth curve for IB in emerging markets?
Well, if I look at India specifically or South Asia, right?
Yeah.
Thank you again, Ankur, for having me here, and for the audience here. Always a pleasure interacting with you. And anything on education and South Asia always excites me. One. Number two is, where did it start? I think by the time COVID happened, I've always said that for me that education has been on steroids since COVID. Okay, people have been setting up a very fast pace, not just me. Okay, while I have put a fast and furious pace, but I've seen even educators, school owners, school leaders, even coming on public holidays on a weekend, talking to us. I think that has been phenomenal. One. And this has also been fueled by India's prosperity, growing prosperity. Everybody now feels that, okay, they have seen certain systems. Can we look at an alternate? So one of the ways is that existing school groups who offer multiple boards, they look at a new international board. They say, ek to IB school karna chahiye. And then that's a journey story. But where we have also pushed from IB side has been creating growing awareness. And we have been fortunate. We have very good educators, IB educators across the country. Okay. So when they come, they speak, they articulate, also makes a lot of sense. Secondly, we have had a buddy system where schools or interested schools from small towns have come to these schools, and our schools have been very friendly, opened the doors, and these schools have seen inspiration. and said, okay, if this school can do it, so can I, and there is a support system available. Where is the growth coming from? We are seeing tier 2, tier 3 growth. And if you still look at the ISC research or other research reports, we're still talking only about 1,000 international schools really in the country, right? And if you look at a lakh plus, that means for the benefit of Western audiences, it means more than 100,000 schools in the country. Okay, 1,000 is still a small number, and this I'm talking about all international schools combined, the 1,000 school number. That means we still have a lot of potential waiting for us. There's an opportunity as India progresses, as India grows in different cities, say a Bokaro, say a Ratlam, say a Rewa. I'm talking about names where nobody would think about an international school to come up. So there is an opportunity. So rather than you or your child going to a school, and people go, even now in a country like India, people visit their relatives. And when a parent goes from a Bhopal to Gurgaon and they see a child doing something different from a national board, they wake up and they start inquiring, they start investigating, they start doing their own research, and sometimes that results in starting a new school, a new IB school in a small town.
So you are, agar thoda sa, Mahesh, if you can just talk about last 8 years, if you can give us some data points in terms of IB, the growth of IB schools in India.
So when I came in about 8 years back, the numbers were about 140, 139 numbers. Okay. And from there, we are now touching about 270.
270. So you have almost doubled the number of IB schools. And you are also mentioning last time, I remember, that lot of this growth is now, you also touched upon it, is happening in tier 2, tier 3 cities where nobody would even think about it. It's not only Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, but jaise aapne bola, the places like Rourkela and Ratlam and all these places where people don't think about IB education, but now these people are now. So you are seeing that there is now demand and economic reasons for people to expect global level of education even in their own districts and towns and cities, which would not have been the case earlier, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, I will talk about a state like Tamil Nadu. Say if you took Karnataka, then you have Bangalore Sarjapur Road, right? One road having schools on both sides of the road. You have seen that yourself. Okay, you have visited. But if you look at Tamil Nadu, which is a very interesting case, where you have a lot of international schools in and around Chennai, we have good amount of IB continuum schools. And 2014, when I was looking at Chennai for my own children, I couldn't find that many IB schools in the heart of the city. Okay, today we have about 20 IB schools in Chennai. One. Second, small town, Erode, Salem, Coimbatore, Madurai, Tirchangod, Rameshwaram, we have candidate or authorized IB schools.
Wow, this is amazing. Great. I mean, so more power to you, and I hope this journey continues for IB. You continue growing. Now, I want to also touch upon we were just talking with Dr. Manish on the same subject. What does global education mean? And a board like IB, I know, does a lot of work in grounding itself to the country that it goes to. And, having those understanding of the culture, nuances, and bringing in an element of that. That's why probably the growth around the world for IB as a curriculum, as a preferred curriculum for schools to start with in an international board. So what would you say about, localizing the IB for the Indian market? Has it happened? Is there a discussion, or what are the points around that?
Thank you. A great question. So I will take a parallel of Nepal for a start. In a country like Nepal, international education has been restricted for some years because of the kind of governments which came over, right? Yet IB has thrived. Okay, there are challenges, of course, but we have thrived because of IB being flexible enough to allow schools to use IB as a framework around the national curriculum. Okay, so that means our primary years program, our middle years program can be used as a framework, because those schools, those countries mandate that at qualification level, at higher secondary level, it has to be the Nepali board, with a few exceptions where you could have, say, 20 schools doing the framework and 1 or 2 schools doing the IB diploma or the IB careers program in a country like Nepal, right? So that's one option. In a country like India as well, what we have seen is, I would suggest that if you cannot make a quick and rapid change. Sometimes change has to be slow and gradual. So the framework approach around the national curriculum is kind of a very good approach. Okay. Of course, the experts would say, oh, this is not real IB. Okay, ये लोग IB ढंग से नहीं कर रहे, उनको समझ में नहीं आता है ना? तो I would say to the critics that from my experience, less of IB is better than no IB. There is an impact. There's a positive impact on the students because we are student-centered learning. Okay, in many countries and for the primary years program, we say no books, like Manish was saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but today, if in a traditional setting, if I go and tell a parent or a school owner, no books, no bags, right? They will they'll get disturbed. So the change has to be gradual, and IB allows that flexibility. One.
That's why. Yes, please go ahead.
In a place like Rajasthan, sometimes parents come and say, "Hey, if we are doing IB, is it moving away to a international context?" No, we are very much rooted in our local communities. A school in Chennai can still celebrate Tirukural, so in their theory of knowledge. Okay, a school in Rajasthan can still celebrate Holi in an IB school. Okay, it is not just about Halloween. Okay, just to give you a parallel.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those are very important things, right? That's how you will grow if you. And this is what we were talking to Dr. Manish. Unless you adjust to the local realities. I mean, global education has no meaning if the kid does not know anything about his own country, his own district, his own festival, his own culture. That is not the purpose of global education. And global education means that the child is first grounded in his or her own culture, and then he is connected to the world. And that is what I have seen even in you.
I will want to make one remark from the previous conversation with Dr. Manish, right?
Yeah.
You were talking about SDGs.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things I've seen more so and I'm much more confident through the journey of last 8 years, our schools in India are very much about environment. So there was always a fear that are we going to leave the planet in good hands? I'm seeing that our students, are that much more environmentally aware, conscious, and want to do good for the environment. One. And this is now spread across systems of education. Okay. While IB has a lot of community service and other stuff around in school, working and talking about SDGs, talking about transdisciplinary learning, but the environmental awareness is there across boards, Ankur. Let's be fair about it. You would have seen that in your journey across India.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree, totally agree. So, one question related to this is, now we have come to this, and I agree that IB is no longer an international alternative, but increasingly a model for influencing national education systems. And you talked about Nepal, you talked about India. So, if you can talk a little bit more about this aspect of IB now, that the growing adoption of IB with various cultures, various countries.
So IB,
and how are you working with the national boards, national curriculums, governments? You have worked a lot with them as well. Please tell us a little bit.
So IB is now there across 160 countries. Okay.
Wow.
Which is phenomenal, right? And we work with governments even in the Middle East. In fact, just before the conflict, IB has signed a couple of agreements with the government of Bahrain, with Lebanon, and so on. We are doing a major project in Paraguay, in Korea, in Japan. Okay, so these are all good projects which the IB is doing. Even in India, we are open. We have engaged governments in the past. We are open to doing capacity building initiatives with different states. Okay, one of the usual complaints is teacher training and teacher availability. I believe that we have a lot of human resources. Okay, a lot of people are there in the system of education, and across my journey with different countries, what I see is that while in the Western world, there's some frustration with the education world where a lot of people are leaving the profession, which is not the case in India.
Yeah. In West, I see that a lot of these teachers are really not happy in the way they are being asked to teach, and so. But in India, people
are so still passionate about education,
passionate about teaching.
We may have our own lenses that the teacher quality is not good, but I would say if you are a school owner, who's setting up a 100 crore school, right? Today, if you talk about land component of 50 crores, 50 crores setting up the infrastructure, why can't you just take 10% of it, which is 10 crores, and spend it on good teacher training?
Absolutely. So what have you, absolutely good subject to talk on. What have you seen in India in this regards to teacher training? Have you seen any
I'm seeing a lot of interest. So in terms of IB itself, our number of IBEC, that means IB educator certificate providers from Christ University to Manav Rachna to Amity, lot many are there and they've come in. So we see that as a thing.
So what is this? If you can talk about this collaboration with Christ and Manav Rachna, what do you do?
So what it does is, if a student is doing B.Ed in that university or a postgraduate diploma in teaching and learning, okay, because you know that IB mandates all teachers to undergo workshops in schools. Okay, that's a mandatory. If you want to become an IB
teacher?
school, teacher training is mandatory.
Okay.
So, but now if you are a primary years teacher and you've done that B.Ed with the PYP, IBEC in a university, then it gives you that permission to then go and do work in an IB school, a PYP school, and you don't need to do that workshop. Of course, we always encourage teachers to continuously improve themselves. They can do category 2, category 3, and much more. Okay, so that's an ongoing process, one. But I was also alluding to one more thing which I'm seeing. Apart from what from IB is doing, I'm also seeing that a lot of providers are there in India who are now focusing on good quality teacher training, including foundational workshop. A lot of interest because everybody, on one side, we keep addressing that getting good quality teachers is a problem. That's an often said statement. Okay. But the other thing is, there are more people willing to come to teaching. Number 2. Number 3, there are workshop providers now available in India. I'm seeing that. Maybe as a commercial model, but it's happening.
But it is happening. It's a good thing. I mean, capitalist societies, you have to have a commercial model, even if it is a commercial model and people are being benefited, and nothing like it.
And Ankur, one thing I would like to say here is that while we talk about teacher shortage, which is the easiest statement to make, what about remunerating teachers? Okay, why can't we take care of them? Why can't we give them a good, healthy working environment in schools?
So this is what I feel. I mean, people build 50 crores, 100 crores on buildings and in land, but nobody talks about teaching. So, bada problem hai ye.
And are we giving them time to reflect? In usual schools, are we giving them time to reflect? What is the timetabling? Now people are talking about educator well-being, educator mental health also. That is now starting to come in discussions on LinkedIn and other forums. Right? But what can we do at schools? And one of the models which I have proposed often is like today, if you are a student not well after COVID, many of the students can decide to join the class online while the teacher is in the classroom. And I'm giving a suggestion here. If the teacher doesn't want to go to school today, if the teacher has got Monday blues or just doesn't want to go to school, why can't a teacher take the class from home, work from home for the teacher? Students joining online from class. That's a model which can be explored. I'm not saying it has to be, but can be explored, should be explored.
I agree with you. And sometimes I feel, we have got, many of us have got the education system wrong. You're absolutely correct. If a teacher does not feel like teaching, rather than having her, force her or him to come to the class and do a bad job of it, maybe let him or her be at home. I was talking to Kanak, who runs Jaipuria schools. Kanak said that when he started Jaipuria schools, they had a policy where one teacher used to be awarded 100% attendance award in the school. That they never taken a leave, and he disqualified that rule. I said, when I joined them, I said, please remove this rule. Teachers, we don't need to celebrate people who don't take a day off. That's not human. People will have a bad day or people will feel sick. We should not be forcing and then not be applauding teachers who are doing that kind of a thing. And teachers are supposed to be the role models for the kids. It's not the books. The teacher is the role model. Teacher has to inspire the class, and the teacher is not paid well. How will that teacher? So again, one of my conversations that was happening, if not with Kanak, with some other leading educationists, was that if the teacher has the responsibility to come up with, to generate doctors, engineers, scientists, And if the teacher himself or herself feels that, I'm not being doing justice to, or I'm not being paid good, what is the motivation for that? I mean, I work with a lot of schools. I mean, I'm right now in Dehradun. I've met a principal today in one of the leading schools here in Dehradun, and we were discussing this. And he said, and he comes from practice. He was working in the industry, and he said his own lived experience that somebody told him that inspiring teachers ही नहीं रहे हैं अब दुनिया में, मतलब बहुत कम रह गए हैं, because people are not being paid well enough, or not, they are just. So he came to this. He's now running a school in Dehradun to encourage teachers to be paid well, to be encouraged, to be motivated, so that then they do a good job at their kids. What is your thought? Because आप तो दुनिया देखे हैं. You are a global educationist based in Singapore, traveled the world, and you worked with so many entrepreneurs, help them set up schools and whatnot. Governments के साथ आपका काम phenomenal है. What do you think? Why is teaching as a profession taken as a salaries or byproduct? I mean, yes, it was there in the days I was at. I'm in city of Dehradun. All the top schools are here. I was at Wellams yesterday, and seeing the story of the founder of Wellams, how she came from UK to Dehradun to set up first at the Doon school. She was working with the Doon school. Then she set up Wellams with her own hard-earned earning, and the commitment that she had. It was not for profit, but let's say in a capitalistic way. We want education to be a capitalist model. Wouldn't it be benefit for the capitalists to have good teachers, to attract more students,
Absolutely.
to pay well, so that you can charge more? But here I see in India, एक और भी अच्छी चीज है महेश sir. I see education is spending crores on billboards, on newspaper ads, on infrastructure. But when you talk about in those ads, who are your teachers? उसमें mention ही नहीं होता. Who are the faculty members? Mention ही नहीं होता. So this whole idea of is it the audience? Is it the parents that are looking for that fancy buildings only? That's why you see only fancy buildings. Is it that the people behind who have the capital don't want to give that capital out in the right direction? They are not being given the right advice of how to run an education institution.
So I think I would want to clear one thing. There are still inspirations available. Okay, you can see them. They continue.
नहीं, वो एक्सेप्ट. जैसे मैं मास्टर्स यूनियन में काम कर रहा हूँ, मैं जिंदल में काम कर रहा हूँ. आई नो वी हैव अमेजिंग अशोका है, अभी नए आ रहे हैं, लेकिन मेजरली मैंने अभी देहरादून में बैठा हूँ. मैं यहाँ गया, वेलम्स जाऊंगा, दून जाऊंगा, आज मैं ओएसिस स्कूल में था. गुड, बट देयर आर एक्सेप्शंस, राइट? बट इन अ कंट्री लाइक
आपने जो बिलबोर्ड का बोला उसको लेकर
बताइए, थोड़ा सा बताइए सर.
क्योंकि ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि किस अदर इंडस्ट्री में, इन नो अदर इंडस्ट्री डू यू गेट अ कस्टमर, सो टू से, अ चाइल्ड एज अ कस्टमर और अ फैमिली एज अ कस्टमर or a parent as a customer with you for 12 to 14 years. Think about it.
Yeah.
So shouldn't all our focus be on keeping that customer happy through good quality experiences in the
Absolutely.
And sometimes if you have siblings, right? All schools give sibling discounts. You would have seen that. Yet,
absolutely.
So we get 12 into 2 or 12 into 3, it can be 36. And then if you take large families in India, extended families, right? So the number of children who could be associated with a school can be multiple. So it is our duty to ensure that, we give a good experience across all fronts and look at them with respect. Okay?
Absolutely.
यही
मेरा कहना है सर, यही मेरा कहना है. इवन इफ यू वांट टू डू कैपिटलिस्ट मॉडल ऑल आउट, भाई पैसा वहां लगाओ जहां पे आपका सर्विस अच्छा हो. 10, 12 साल, 15 साल वो बच्चा आपके साथ रहने वाला है, एंड दैट किड्स वर्ड ऑफ माउथ मैटर्स. इफ दैट किड इज हैप्पी, दैट फैमिली इज हैप्पी, दे विल recommend 10 more families. Why are you spending millions of dollars on acquiring new customers while your existing customers are not having a good experience? I mean, you are as it is wasting your money down the drain. वहां जाके आप बड़ा बड़ा बिलबोर्ड लगा रहे हैं. वो स्कूल में आ रहा है तो उसके एग्जिस्टिंग बच्चे से बात कर रहा था, वो कह रहा है यहाँ कुछ नहीं होता सर, चले जाइए यहाँ पे. क्या लॉजिक ही मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा.
And I've spoken to you about this quite a few times, that while we're in the not-for-profit sector in India, right? But the business of education seems to be a very profitable one.
Very profitable one. Yeah, absolutely. And I tell a lot of people that talk to me, okay, you want to earn profit, great, please do it. But please do it in the right way. This is not Coca-Cola or FMCG that you are selling Nivea creams. that you can probably show 5 more ads and then you will have 100 more customers coming to you because you showed 5 more ads.
Another caution I would like to bring through your channel here today is that many of the people who are getting started with new schools think it's okay to poach lock, stock and barrel the teaching faculty from another well-established school. You cannot build a new infrastructure by destroying an old edifice. This is something I hope people are aware and refrain from doing. Like I said, you invested so much capital in creating a new school. Okay, a fraction of that will go a long way in training and equipping teachers whom you have hired.
Yeah, and they will stick around for you for years if you have the right culture, if you are developing them, if you are invested in them, if you tell them that you are here for years, this institution is your and you have to take ownership of that institution. जो भी हम institution values की बात करते हैं, अगर आप as a owner या promoter वो चीज उसमें नहीं डाल रहे हैं, तो it is education does not survive. Education is not a transaction, as Mahesh wonderfully mentioned. A kid is with you for 10 or 15 years and then for life. I mean, I was at Willems, and Willems, one of the things that Viva ma'am, the principal, told me, she has been the principal. She has been with the school for last 29 years. And she has been the principal for, if I'm not mistaken, for last 14 years or more of this. And she said, Willems, which is almost a 70-year-old institution, just has had 6 principals in 70 years.
Yes.
She said that is engraved in our constitution. The founder said that once a teacher or a principal is appointed, then she has to have that comfort of a tenure, where you are part of the institution. It's not the building of Wellem. It is the teachers. It is the people. So they have been teaching and leading the school for years and years. 6 principals in 70 years. I said, ma'am, this is amazing. I mean, now in India, this is a fashion now. Every 2 years, 3 years, people are looking for new principals and now thinking of new, just to give that autonomy and ownership that comes to a teacher. You know, a teacher has to be given ownership commit. That is when the teacher will blossom, right? If he is thinking कि अगले साल मैं principal रहूंगी नहीं रहूंगी, promoter का mood कैसा रहेगा, पता नहीं वो क्या सोच रहा है, तो फिर कैसा institution बनेगा? सबको बनाना Willems है. लेकिन मैं
आपको 2 चीज बोल देता हूँ. Again, I've been fortunate on the positive side to see some of the school leaders doing their succession planning. They are
very good.
They develop their second in line, and they don't leave schools just like that. They work with the promoters to ensure that even if they leave, they would have a good principal in place, which is very positive.
That is the ownership, that the commitment that the promoter would have given to that principal, that he or she feels responsible. I have to think about succession planning. This is what Viva ma'am told me. She said, when I joined, the existing principal took me under her wings for 4 or 5 years to prepare me for the job. And when she started leaving, she said, now I have the principal ready for you. So this is the level of institutions that are how they are built over years, right?
And again, what a treat. I want to say something is that the Western world and many parts of Asia also are seeing schools close down or merge. India, we are still opening schools at a very rapid pace.
India mein to there is a low demand now, right? There is so much growth happening.
So if we take care of the growing fertility rates, and if we just are aware what kind of the right number of students, the teacher taught ratio, I think this is a good model for the world to look at. And in next 15-20 years, if the world truly goes online, okay, then Indian teachers, Indian schools could be teaching the globe.
Very good. Thank you so much, Mahesh sir. What an honor. I know it's 5 p.m. and we have our next guest waiting.
Sure.
Thank you so much for your time.